The only worthwhile stand we can make as a nation is to assert our right to self-determination as a unit of prospective federal commonwealth of Nigeria and the Cameroons, where our rights will be respected and safeguarded. Roughly speaking, there are 20 main dialectical regions in the Igbo nation, which can be conveniently departmentalized as provinces of an Igbo state, to wit, Mbamili in the northwest, Aniocha in the west, Anedema and Ukwani in the southeast, Nsuka and Udi in the north, Ogu, Oka and Onisha in the center, Ogbaru in the south, Abakaliki and Afikpo in the northwest, Okigwe, Olu, Oweri and Mbise in the east, Ngwa, Bende, Aberiba, Ohafia and Eche in the southwest. Hello, beautiful people. I welcome you today to Nnamdi TV. And today I'll be sharing with you an address made at Aba by the late Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe during the Igbo State Union. Note again, the Igbo State Union. While we are here, I would want you to share this video, share it wide and far, so that I can get to more people in order to learn a thing or two through this address I'll be reading out. All right, it goes like this. Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe to Ndibo, exactly 74 years today, delivered at the Igbo State Assembly held at Aba, Nigeria, on Saturday, June 25th, 1949. It was on self-determination. It goes, harbingers of new day of the Igbo nation, having selected me to preside over the deliberation of this assembly of the Igbo nation, I am conscious of the fact that you have not done so because of any extraordinary attribute in me. I realize that I am not the oldest among you, nor the wisest, nor the wealthiest, nor the most experienced, nor the most learned. I am therefore grateful to you for elevating me to this high pedestal. The Igbo people have reached a crossroad, and it is for us to decide which is the right course to follow. We are confronted with routes leading to diverse goals, but as I see it, there is only one road that I can safely recommend for us to tread, and it is the road to self-determination. For the Igbos within the framework of Federated Commonwealth of Nigeria and the Cameroons, leading to a United States of Africa, other roads, in my opinion, are calculated to lead us astray from the path of national self-realization. It would appear that God has specially created the Igbo people to suffer persecution and be victimized because of their resolute will to live. Since suffering is the label of our tribe, we can't afford to sacrifice for the ultimate redemption of the children of Africa. Is it not fortunate that the Igbo are among few remnants of the indigenous African nation who are still not spoliated by the artificial necessities of Western materialism? Is it not historically significant, and throughout the glorious history of Africa, the Igbo is one of the select few to have escaped the humiliation of conquerors' swords or to be victims of a Carthaginian treaty? Search through the records of African history, and you will fail to find an occasion when, in any pitched battle, any African nation has either marched across Igbo territory or subjected the Igbo nation to a humiliating conquest. Instead, there is a record to show that the martial prowess of the Igbo at all stages of human history has rivaled them, not only to survive persecution, but also to adapt themselves to the role those thrust upon them by the history of preserving all that is best and most noble in African culture and tradition. Placed in this high esteem, the Igbo cannot shirk the responsibility confined on it by its manifest destiny. Having undergone a course of suffering, The Igbo must therefore enter into its heritage by asserting its birthright without apologies. Follow me in a kaleidoscopic study of the Igbo, 4 million strong in manpower. Our agricultural resources include economic and food crops, which are the basis of modern civilization, not to mention fruits and vegetables which flourish to the tropic. Our mineral resources include coal, lignite, lead, antimony, iron, diatomite, clay, oil, tin. Our forest products include timber of economic value, including iroko and mahogany. Our fauna and flora are marvels of the world. Our land is blessed by waterways of world renown, including the River Niger, Imo River, Cross River. Our ports are among the best known in the continent of Africa. Yet, in spite of these natural advantages, which illustrates without doubt the potential wealth of the Igbo, we are among the least developed in Nigeria. Economically, we are so ostracized socially, and we have become extraneous in the political institutions of Nigeria. I have not come here today in order to catalog the disabilities which the Igbo suffer in spite of our potential wealth, in spite of our teeming manpower, in spite of our vitality as an indigenous African people. Suffice it to say that it would enable you to appreciate the manifest destiny of the Igbo if I enumerated some of the acts of discrimination against us as a people. Socially, the British press has not been sparing in describing us as the most hated in Nigeria. In this unholy crusade, the Daily Mirror, the Times, the Economist, News Review, and the Daily Mail have been in the forefront. In the Nigerian press, you are living witness of what happened in the last 18 months when Lagos, Zaria, and Calabar sections of the Nigerian press were virtually encouraged to provoke us to tendentious propaganda. It is needless for me to tell you that today, both in England and in Africa, the expression Igbo has become a word of opprobrium. Politically, you have seen with your own eyes how 4 million people were disenfranchised by the British for decades because of our alleged backwardness. We have never been represented on the Executive Council, and not one Igbo town has had the franchise, despite the fact that our native political institutions are essentially democratic. In fact, more democratic than any other African nation, in spite of our extreme individualism. Economically, we have labored under onerous taxation measures without receiving sufficient social amenities to justify them. We have been taxed without representation, and our contributions in taxes have been used to develop other areas. Out of proportion to the incidence of taxation in those areas, it would seem that we are becoming a victim of economic annihilation through gradual but studied process. What are my reasons for cataloging these disabilities and interpreting them as calculated to emasculate us, and so render us impotent to assert our right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? I shall now state the fact which should be well known to any honest student of Nigerian history. On the social plane, it will be found that outside Government College of Umuahia, there is no other secondary school run by the British government in Nigeria, in Igbo land. There is not one secondary school for girls by the British government in our part of the country. In the northern and western provinces, the contrary is the case. If a survey of the hospital facilities in Igbo land were made, embarrassing results might show some sort of discrimination. Outside of Port Harcourt, fire protection is not provided in any Igbo town, and yet we have been under protection of Great Britain for many decades. On the economic plane, I cannot sufficiently impress you because you are too familiar with the victimization which is our fate. Look at how our roads, how many of them are tarred, compared, for example, with the roads in other parts of the country. Those of you who have traveled to this assembly by road are witness to the corrugated and utterly unworthy state of the roads which traverse Igbo land, in spite of the fact that our 4 million people pay taxes in order, among others, to have good roads. Which roads must be considered the system of communication, water and electricity supplies. How many of our towns, for example, have completed postal, telegraph, telephone, and wireless services compared to towns in the areas of Nigeria? How many have pipe-borne water supplies? How many have electricity undertakings? Does not the Igbo taxpayer fulfill his civic duty? Why then must he be victim of studied official victimization? Today, these disabilities have been intensified. There is a movement to disregard traditional organizations in Igbo nation by the introduction of a special system of a form of local government. The placing of Igbo nation in an artificial regionalization scheme has left an unfair impression of attempted domination by minorities of Igbo people. In the House of Assembly and the Legislative Council, the Electoral College system has aided in complete disenfranchisement of the Igbo. As a climax, spurious leadership is being foisted upon us, a mixed leadership which receives official recognition, thus stultifying the legitimate aspiration of the Igbo. This leadership shows a palpable disloyalty to the Igbo and loyalty to an alien protecting power. The only worthwhile stand we can make as a nation is to assert our right to self-determination as a unit of prospective federal commonwealth of Nigeria and the Cameroons, where our rights will be respected and safeguarded. Roughly speaking, there are 20 main dialectical regions in the Igbo nation, which can be conveniently departmentalized as provinces of an Igbo state, to wit, Mbamili in the northwest, Aniocha in the west, Anedema and Ukwane in the southeast, Nsuka and Udi in the north, Ogu, Oka and Onisha in the center, Ogbaru in the south, Abakaliki and Afikpo in the northwest, Okigwe, Olu, Oweri and Mbise in the east, Ngwa, Bende, Aberiba, Ohafia and Eche in the southwest. These provinces can have their territorial boundaries delimited. They can select their capitals and then can conveniently develop their resources both for their common benefits and for those of the other nationalities who make up this great country called Nigeria and the Cameroons. The key notes in this address is self-determination for the Igbo. Let us establish an Igbo state based on linguistic and ethnic factors, enabling us to take our place side by side with the other linguistic and ethnic groups which make up Nigeria and the Cameroons, with the Hausa, Fulani, Kanuri, Yoruba, Ibibio, Iboku, Angas, Beirom, Tiv, Ijo, Edo, Uhobo, Ishakiri, Nupe, Igala, Ogoja, Gwari, Douala, Bali, and other nationalities asserting their right to self-determination, each as separate as the fingers, but united with others as part of the same hand. We can reclaim Nigeria and the Cameroons from the degradation which has pleased the forces of European imperialism to impose upon us. Therefore, our meeting today is of momentous importance in the history of the Igbo, in that an opportunity has been presented to us to heed the call of the spoiled race, to answer the summons of redeem a ravished continent, a rallied forces to the defense of a humiliated country, and to arouse national conscience in a demoralized but dynamic nation. Thank you, and God bless. This is a speech by late Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. If you listen attentively to this particular speech, you will understand that this noble man who has lived, who has played his part, has canvassed for the autonomy and the self-determination of the Igbo nation by listing out the boundaries and the communities who are naturally Igbos. Thank you once again. Please do us the needful by sharing this content. Remain blessed.